So when the number 2 and the number 3 teams in college football go against each other, and the only undefeated team in the NFL gets beaten, and that happens all in 1 week, we gotta talk about that.
Hold up, wait until the whole team show up, yeah. I'm in Neverland, can't cry.
Hey, how's it going, guys? So today I'm going to be doing another week in review from what happened in the last week, and some of the topics that I'm going to be talking about is what just happened last night with the 49ers and the Seahawks. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap of the Alabama and LSU game. I'm also going to touch upon if the Seahawks are the real deal or not, and I'm also going to talk about if Kyle Allen is the future for the Carolina Panthers now that Cam Newton is out for the season and potentially couldn't be on the team next year. So starting off with the Alabama and LSU game, it was a pretty crazy game. It was very eventful, and we all knew that going in. But if you look at the game just in terms of which quarterback is better, which I bet a lot of people were looking at it in that sort of aspect, just because Tua was looked at as the number one prospect for the 2020 draft going into this college football season. And now Joe Burrow just comes out of nowhere with LSU and has this amazing connection with his wide receivers and really is very close. At the start of this game, it was looking very close that Joe Burrow would be the number one quarterback going into this year's draft. So it was a really great matchup to really see who was better. And from what we saw in the game, Tua just seemed really uneasy and very nervous at every single throw he got. That could have been that he didn't get enough time during this last week because of his high ankle injury. You know, he wasn't as prepared as he felt like he was. You know, the pressure was starting to get to him. But you could say, at least with the pressure coming from the front four, you could say the same thing that was happening to Joe Burrow as well, because I mean, it's not like Alabama has a crappy defense or anything. They're they're the top 3 in college football, and they've always been looked at as one of the best defenses in college football. And so if you just watch the highlights, Burrow just seems like he's so comfortable, like he's so smooth in that pocket, and everything's just like a rhythm for him. And you really saw it in that first drive. Like he got down that field in a matter of 2 minutes. It looked like an offensive clinic out there. And so if you just look at the game in terms of which quarterback was better, we could definitely see that Joe Burrow outperformed Tua in the last game. And it'll be really interesting to see sort of where this loss puts Alabama in the rankings for the college football playoff, and who will actually be able to come out on top in the championship this next year. But I thought that was a really highly contested and really cool game to be able to watch and to be able to see which team was better. So comment down below which NFL teams you think either Burrow or Tua are going to be going to in this upcoming draft. And so now let's talk about the future of the Carolina Panthers and their quarterback situation. So it just came out at the start of this week that Cam Newton is not going to be returning to the Panthers during this year, and that Kyle Allen is going to be the starter for the remainder of the year. And it also came out that it's very unlikely that Cam Newton is going to remain with the team, because they're very nervous about his job security, and he's been very injury prone for the last 2 years. So they want to make sure that they actually have a good, secure future in the quarterback position. And what it looks like, you know, if you need a guy to go out there and throw 250 yards, 2 touchdowns every single game, Kyle Allen's your guy. And I really think it's cool how this year it really seems, you see it with Gardner Minshew, and now with Kyle Allen, and now the quarterback that just got slotted in for Denver. It really seems like those guys, that backups, are really sort of using this opportunity to flourish for their teams and really make a name for themselves. Because, I mean, you've seen it in past years. Anytime a quarterback gets injured and a backup has to go in, it's all like, oh, shoot, their season's over. Like, there's no way that they're going to get any sort of wins or anything. And now when you look at Carolina versus, like, any of the top teams, you know, you sort of put respect on Kyle Allen's name because he's been able to perform out there. Same thing with Gardner Minshew. Nick Foles just got one of the biggest contracts for a quarterback in NFL history, and they're thinking about starting Gardner Minshew over him just because of how he's performed over the last 9 weeks. It's really very interesting, and so I think it'll be really cool if Kyle Allen is able to stick in that system and continue to develop and get comfortable within the Panthers system, and being able to really develop with the Panthers would be really cool. And I think that he's going to stick as the quarterback for the foreseeable future for the Panthers, and I think he'll be a great addition for that team. And I it'll be really interesting to see how he fully does develop, and if he's able to really mop up and those mistakes that he has been making with the interceptions and the turnovers and whatnot. But time will tell, and obviously the more experience that he'll get, the better he's going to get. And so now I just wanted to talk about last night. What a crazy game that was. Back and forth between the 49ers and the Seahawks. It was absolutely nuts. And it was really shown that the 49ers defense, that front four is crazy. But when you have a good enough quarterback like Russell Wilson to be able to lead that offense down the field, they're able to find holes in that defense to be able to get points. Because this really put into question who is the top team now in the NFC, now that the Saints just lost and now that the Seahawks just took down the 49ers. I mean, they looked like a really good team out there, not only on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. They made Jimmy Garoppolo look really uncomfortable, and his play looked really gross. Like, they almost had like 5 or 6 interceptions there if they didn't drop 2 of them. And so if you start comparing the Seahawks to the Saints just got manhandled by the Falcons this past week. The Falcons only had 1 win before this, and they just got lost 26-9. What? And then if you look at what the Seahawks did this last year against the same exact Falcons team, they won 27-20. So it's a good comparison to be able to look at these two, at the loss from the Saints and how the Seahawks were able to play against the same exact Falcons team. But it'll be interesting how these two teams are able to, perform in the next few weeks, and to see how they'll be able to also perform in the playoffs as well, because we could see both of these teams in the NFC conference matchup. This would be a perfect matchup to see who's going to be able to go off to the Super Bowl. So it'll be really interesting. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on who do you think is the best team in the NFC, and also who do you think is a better team, the Saints or the Seahawks. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this review. I actually switched it a day later than I normally would have, just because I saw how great of a matchup it was for Monday Night Football, and I really wanted to see what was going to transpire in that game last night, and to be able to talk about it during this next day. So I am going to continue to be posting these reviews on Monday, every Monday. So give me a big thumbs up if you did really like this one. I love making these videos for you guys and just like talking about the different stuff that's been going on during the week. Also, don't forget to follow my Instagram and my Twitter as well. I post every single day on both of those platforms as well. Thank you guys so much for the constant support. You guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.
The band, that's big views. Boarded the plane, won't be back to Maine. Nah, I can't